Scouting is a game played for fun, but a game with a pretty serious purpose: the development of character, citizenship, and fitness among young men. Scouting is also designed to develop leadership in boys. These may sound like pretty lofty ideals, but as an adult leader, you have been selected to guide a group of boys toward those ideals. Many years of Scouting history have shown it can be done. This workshop will assist you in the training of your new troop junior leaders. It is designed to supplement the introduction to leadership you have already given them. These activities should help you transfer much of the leading of the troop into the Scouts' own hands. The workshop consists of a series of activities in which you will take part with your Scouts. Notice we said, you will take part. We will present a kind of leadership that takes seriously the ability of boys to lead their own patrols and troop. We call it shared leadership. It's not new, of course. We have said for years that Scouting develops leadership in young men, but actually getting this to happen can be difficult. For one, boys don't always take the initiative to lead, and as adults, we sometimes find it easier to make the key decisions for the troop. The approach we use here will help you give the leadership initiative back to your boy leaders. But to do that, you must take an active part in all of the discussions and activities. You will have to set a good example of participation for the boys to get the most out of the day. This workshop may seem different from training activities you have had in Scouting so far, but if you use it as designed, you can establish an atmosphere of trust to build on through the year. The workshop is based on a series of brief video presentations. After viewing each segment, you will run the learning activities found in your workshop guidebook. The activities are designed to be fun as well as to give each participant a better understanding of leadership in Scouting. You will also lead what we call reflections on the experiences the group has just shared. These reflections are the most important single element in the workshop. Since you are going to be the main presenter of this training, you will want to preview the entire tape and read the workshop guide carefully. You will also need to gather some materials and make other preparations before you run the sessions. You should schedule a full day for the workshop with a 45-minute lunch break. This workshop should combine learning and fun. It can be a beginning of the mutual trust you need to make boy leadership a reality in your troop. The workshop will cover 4 topics: leadership styles, cooperation in the patrol, conflict resolution, and building team spirit. The objectives are twofold. 1, to give you and your junior leaders a greater sense of mutual trust. And 2, to see how shared leadership will work in the patrol and the troop. There are a few props you'll need to run the workshop. They are simple things: a beach ball, a length of good stout rope, strips of cloth for blindfolds, some potatoes, magazines, and of course, your junior leader's handbook. We even have a special lunch activity that provides a learning experience. Details on all the activities are in the leader's guide.
Good to see you, Tom. You'll have a good week, too?
Yeah, it's
Good. How about you, Greg?
pretty good.
Week? Good.
As you do the activities, though, try not to get too hung up on the rule book.
What's going on there?
The effectiveness of the workshop will come less from the activities than from the reflection process that follows each of them. As you go through the video segments of the workshop, you'll see how we've helped set up each of the activities.
How about you, Rashard? Do you like to play games?
The one we're demonstrating here is called the blind square.
Now, the object of the game is to form a square out of this rope. But there are several rules that we have to keep in mind. Number 1, we're all going to be blindfolded.
You may notice, too, that we're demonstrating with a group of 11 people, Scouts and Scoutmaster included.
5 seconds at a
To
time.
run the workshop effectively, you'll need at least 10 participants.
I'm the only one who can speak while we're doing this.
Give priority to your patrol leaders, troop guide, crew chief, team captain, the senior patrol leader, and his assistant. In order to get a good-sized group, you can also involve your appointed leaders. the assistant patrol leaders, quartermaster, scribe, and den chief. Before you preview the rest of the workshop, a quick look at the reflection technique might be helpful.
What do you think about the square, guys?
It's all right. It's all right. Not too shabby.
Yeah. Let's drop the rope. Let's sit down right here and let's talk about this for a bit. All right?
Reflection is a process in which a group learns by reviewing their shared experience. It's the opposite of the lecture technique.
Who took the leadership role? Who was the leader?
Frankly, you were kind of the big boss.
Well, maybe so. Maybe I was. What did you think about being led by someone who was the big boss? What did you think, Michelle?
In a reflection, the ideas come from the participants themselves, with only minimal coaching from you. In this case, our demonstration group is reflecting on the blind square activity they have just played. Notice how the Scoutmaster is leading the discussion. He is listening intently. His body language is relaxed. He's taking his time, letting ideas flow from the boys. He knows that some will be more eager to talk than others, so he's careful to draw everyone into the discussion.
It was dark and I could hardly hear you.
Okay. Well, maybe I need to speak up next time, huh? How about you? How'd you feel about it?
Notice, too, that our leader did not characterize what the Scout said as good or bad. There really are no totally right or wrong answers here. The idea is to get everybody thinking. We try to be as non-judgmental as we can in our responses. We work mainly by asking questions.
How do you think we could play the game to eliminate that kind of leadership? How do you think we could do that?
We use questions that provoke thought. Open-ended questions that cannot be answered with a simple yes or no. We close the reflection by setting goals based on the judgments and generalizations we have just formed.
That's a very good idea.
Some very good ideas can come up this way. As the leader of the reflection, you'll be able to reinforce ideas that relate to the workshop. If you listen well, you can build on some of the Scouts' own ideas as you go through the day. As you lead your junior leaders through this workshop, you'll come across many opportunities to lecture.
You know, that's a good point. This is why... You go ahead.
But you won't. You may find that some intense listening can work as well for you as intense talking. This ends your pre-briefing. Go on now to a careful review of the Leader's Guide and the video portion of the workshop. You can make some notes and get started on your materials list.
Hey, we salute you, fearless leader.
Cool boots, Greg. They new?
Yeah, they're pretty new. Boy, look at us. Are we ready to hit the mountain or what?
All right, guys, we're going to be leaving in a few minutes, all right?
Okay, let us show you what we got here.
All right, no problem.
Check this stuff out. You won't believe it. We got pretzels.
I got some popcorn.
Got me some Shakespeare.
Got my binoculars.
Tommy is a new patrol leader. He's been on many campouts, but this one will be different. He'll be the leader of his patrol for the first time. It's a job he's not sure he knows how to do, but he wants to do it right. In other words, he's like most guys.
Yeah, right. Looks like you guys are planning on staying a while, huh? All right, you got the entertainment taken care of, but don't forget we got to carry this stuff 10 miles. Don't you think it's going to get a little heavy?
Yeah, guess so.
This right here, this got everything you need right here. Checklist, okay? Let's go through it together, all right?
All right.
Keep it neat, though, you know.
What we'll be doing today is a special activity designed just for you as a patrol leader, crew chief, team captain, senior patrol leader, or other junior leader in scouting. Together with your Scoutmaster and other junior leaders, you'll be watching the experiences of Tommy and his fellow scouts as he plays a leadership role for the first time. You won't just be sitting and watching, though. From time to time, we'll stop the video and give your group a chance to work together. The purpose of this is to help you understand what's expected of you as a junior leader. We know you want to do a good job. We also want you to have fun doing it. Maybe by the end of the day, you'll have picked up a few good ideas about being a leader.
All right. Hi, Mom. See you Sunday.
Bye.
Hi.
All right, guys. Let's go. All right.
Hey Sam, hey Greg.
Hey, Jimmy.
Go ahead and put your backpacks in the back.
Hey, Jimmy.
First backpacking trip for these guys, huh? Did you help them with the packing?
Yeah, I helped a little. These guys must have packed everything they owned. Yeah, thanks a lot.
Sure.
How you doing, Tommy?
Miss Lewis, we went through everything in our packs. We got everything, and a few.
Okay, good. When we get to the camp, you're going to need to go ahead and round up the rest of your patrol and also check their stuff right away, okay?
Okay, no problem.
Let's go.
What you've done up to now is the game of scouting, learning your scout skills, being tested, earning rank. You're good at it. It's been fun. And you've learned a lot, maybe more than you think. Now you've been elected to be a leader of other scouts. You're about to learn a new game of scouting, that of being a leader. But where do you begin? And what kind of leader are you going to be? One idea of a leader is a big boss, somebody who can order people around because he's bigger or tougher, a kind of superhero character. You see guys like this mainly in the movies, on television, and in comic books.
Turn real loose, I'll get that outsider! Hold yourself. Jacobs.
Yes, sir. Want a machine gun emplacement here and one over on that spur, so we can crossfire this area.
Aye, aye, sir.
Signal the ship we're ready to start unloading operations.
Aye, aye, sir.
Keep your chin up, kid.
Bolts and gardening, all
This big boss type of leader doesn't seem to care very much about other people's feelings. He makes all the important decisions himself and usually seems to know best.
Now, even a superficial look at the compound shows us that huts 104 and 5 are closest to the woods. The first tunnel goes out from 105, directly east under the Vorlager, the Cooler, and the Wire.
But that's over 300 feet, Roger.
Did you make a survey, Dennis?
Only a temporary one, sir. I make it just over 335 feet.
Let me know when you've got an exact one, will he?
He's brave and strong, usually smarter than anybody else around. We've seen an awful lot of these kind of guys in movies and on television.
I am Oz, the great and powerful. Who are you? Who are you?
There are some neat things about being a big boss. It's a cool image. You can feel superior as long as you always know what to do.
Small and meek.
And in emergencies, a person who takes control quickly can be very helpful. Being a big boss may look good, but being bossed around by them is another story. What kind of leader do we want in the Boy Scouts? Here's another way to look at leadership. It's a lot more realistic, and it's the kind of leadership you can learn in the Boy Scouts.
There's the lake there.
This other kind of leader works with a group in a very different way from the big boss. This leader shares the leading with everyone in the group. It's a style we call shared leadership. It's the best kind of leadership for a Boy Scout troop like yours. It's what we'll spend the rest of the day learning about. Your next step is to learn that every person in the group has something to offer. Then it's your job to help everyone contribute what they have to offer towards a group goal. One of the good things about this way of leading is that you don't have to be the biggest or strongest in the group to be a good leader. When you think about it, this kind of leadership makes a lot of sense because it's usually groups that get things done, not leaders. That goes for any group. The government of the United States, a basketball team, hey, even a scouting patrol. In the real world, most groups are like these. They're led by people who know how to help set a goal and work together to get things done. The President of the United States once said we could put a man on the moon. The people agreed, so we got together and did it. A basketball coach encouraged his players to do their best. They went out and won the game. Both of these groups got something special done because they had good leaders. But it was still the group that actually got the job done. The groups did, with the help of a leader. Groups that don't have good leadership don't get much done, and leaders without a group of cooperative people, well, they won't accomplish anything either. In the real world, leaders are people who help their groups get organized and then encourage them to achieve something. Same thing in scouting. Nobody expects you to be a superhero. Your job is to help your patrol accomplish things and have fun on the way. So you aren't going to be a big boss with all the answers. You're going to become a good leader by sharing the leadership with others. Our friend Tommy may not feel like he's a leader yet, but he's already done several things that helped lead the scouts in his group. Tommy saw that the guys were bringing a lot of stuff they didn't need. He could have said how dumb they were for packing so much stuff, or taken charge and showed them how to do it right, but he didn't. He knew this was their first backpacking trip, and he didn't make a big deal about it. Instead, he asked them a question.
We got the entertainment taken care of, but don't forget, we gotta carry this stuff 10 miles. Don't you think it's gonna get a little heavy?
That led them to start thinking about the problem. Then together they used their resources to do a better job. They may not have known it, but Tommy was leading them by sharing his leadership, not being a big boss. Whenever you help to set a goal for your group, you're being a good leader. When you help to plan an activity, when you encourage another scout or teach a skill, you are leading. When your patrol gets something done, it will be because you were there to help them get the job done. For you, beginning today, sharing leadership will be the new game of scouting. You don't have to pretend to know everything or be a super scout. You just have to encourage the guys in your patrol to set goals, to share the work, and solve problems together. In the next activity, you'll have a chance to experience some different kinds of leadership. We have a task for you that will require both leadership and followership from everyone in order to get the task done. We'll stop the tape for now for an activity that will help us learn more about leadership. Your Scoutmaster will introduce the activity.
One chance. When the guard goes to the far end of the compound, you might be able to move your men out. I think I can make it to the woods, set up a signal when you're clear.
What about the Goontas?
That's a chance you're going to have to take, but they're going to be watching the compound, not the woods.
Hurry up, get in there and get dressed. Right now, we're leaving.
This last exercise taught us something about leadership. It showed that for the group to solve its problem, some people had to act as leaders and, just as important, others had to follow along. What did your group learn? How well were you led? There will be many times when you won't know the solution to a problem. Often the best solution will come from another member of the group. Something to think about.
All right. Need to take roll. Is everyone in the Ravens here?
Yeah.
All right. And the Rattlesnakes?
Yeah.
Great. And the Beavers?
Yes.
All right.
As a newly elected leader, you'll need to know more about the other jobs in the troop and patrol. In this segment, we'll take a closer look at how these jobs are organized to get things done. In scouting, we work by patrols. Patrols make it easier and more fun to do everything. Because patrols are small and cooperative, they can do things like setting up camp or cooking a meal. As a leader, you can use the patrol to get just about anything done, and have a lot of fun doing it. Let's take a moment to look at how the troop is organized. First of all, the troop is led by the senior patrol leader, someone elected by the whole troop. The Scoutmaster, as the adult leader of the troop, advises the senior patrol leader. There's an assistant senior patrol leader who works with scouts in special support positions. A troop quartermaster, troop scribe, bugler, historian, librarian, den chief, instructor, and a chaplain's aide. The troop is divided into patrols, or varsity crews and venture teams. Each of these units has a leader who is elected and an assistant who is appointed. Within each patrol, there are other special jobs such as grubmaster, patrol scribe, quartermaster, and cheermaster. When you step back and look at the way the troop is organized, you'll see that every scout has a chance to be a leader.
Once we get to the top of Snake Mountain, we'll start building our campsite.
The plan for this weekend's backpacking trip on Snake Mountain was made up a month ago by the Patrol Leaders Council and the Scoutmaster. It's the first big outing of the year. As patrol leader, Tommy has to lead his patrol to do their part. When they get to the trailhead, there's an unexpected problem for the troop to solve. The senior patrol leader has a challenge for the Raven Patrol.
Guys, why don't you put up the packs, all right?
Listen, here's the deal. I talked to the ranger, and he told us that the bridge at Devil's Crevice is out.
Whoa.
So we need you and your patrol to build a bridge so we can get across, okay? Do you think, can you handle it?
No problem.
All right?
Yeah, no
All
problem.
right. We'll be up there later to cross with you, but we have to build this bridge to get us across, okay?
All right, no problem.
All right?
We got it.
Great.
Raven Patrol. All right. Guys, we got a challenge, okay? There's a big rock crevice on Snake Mountain. It's called Devil's Crevice. All right, the bridge is out, okay? We've been asked to put back in a temporary bridge for right now so the rest of the troop can get over. What kind of supplies are we going to need?
Well, we might need a bow saw.
Yeah, we'll need that. What else are we going to need?
Oh, we're gonna need an axe.
Yeah.
But what about the wood?
Oh, they got wood up there. We'll get some timbers and stuff.
We might need some rope.
Rope. Whoa, that might be a problem. We don't have any rope, do we?
No. No rope.
Well, all right. Well, let's get our packs and let's get up there, all right?
Sounds great.
Let's go.
Good, guys.
All right, guys, be careful. I think the Devil's Crevice is up here somewhere. Should be right up here. Yeah, this is it. Devil's Crevice. Pretty deep, huh? But the problem is now, what kind of bridge are we gonna use?
You know, I saw a bridge demonstrated back at the camporee. It might work. It was made with logs, but it didn't need any ropes or stakes to hold it in place.
Yeah, a friction bridge.
Yeah, that's it.
Okay. Can you show us how to build it?
Yeah, I can show you how.
All right then. All right. Well, let's put our packs away and let's get to it.
Let's do it.
Let's go. We need to spread out. Okay, now what are we gonna need, guys?
We're gonna need some logs about 5 feet long and about this big around.
All right then.
We can find some good sturdy logs.
Yeah.
Okay.
And Ronald and I here can take the bow saw and saw them.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Okay. We're also gonna need some spars about 10 feet long.
What are spars?
Well, what they do is they go across the crevice and they help to support the bridge. You can come and help me find some of those.
Oh, okay. Okay, I'll help you.
All right.
Well, let's get to it, guys.
Do it.
Working together helped the troop and the Raven Patrol to do something important. But that's not all. The bridge idea came not from the patrol leader, but from one of the guys. Tommy shared his leadership role by asking the guys to tackle the problem. Everybody got a chance to wrestle with the problem. At first, Tommy was tempted to jump in and give what he thought was an obvious solution. But he cooled it. He waited. Maybe it took a little longer, but this way everybody felt they were part of the solution. It wasn't Tommy's problem they had to solve. It was the patrol's. A big difference.
This is really great. Where'd you learn how to do this?
Well, all I did was I took 2 spars and made an X-brace, and then I took a beam and laid it across there. And then we just took some logs and just put them across.
That's really neat.
You notice they had no problem doing their share of the work either, and they had fun doing it. Tommy might be too modest to admit it, but it all happened that way because of some good leadership from him. Instead of being a big boss, he was sharing leadership. Everyone is unique. Everyone has special qualities and abilities. When you put them together in a troop and patrol organization, you can do just about anything. Catch a dinner for 40 on a hook, climb a mountain, or build a bridge in an afternoon. In this next activity, we'll see what we can learn from a plain old potato.
You ain't asking me. You're telling me. And I don't know a thing, see?
All I've got to say, Tom, is that you've got a good job now. You don't need these rats you're running around with.
Well, I suppose you want me to go to night school and read poems. I've been hearing a few things myself.
There's nothing to hear about me.
Oh, you're nothing but a sneak thief.
What did you say?
You heard me, a petty larceny sneak thief, a nickel snatcher, robbing a streetcar company.
Ring around the rosy, a pocket full of spheres. Thought you'd be pretty foxy, didn't you? Well, the last to go will see the first 3 go before her. And her mangy little dog, too. How about a little fire, Scarecrow? Oh!
By now, you've had a chance to do some problem solving as a group. You can see that being a leader is more than being a boss, and it can be fun. Tommy is finding out that his patrol can work together pretty well, as long as everybody agrees on the goal. After all, it was pretty obvious that they needed the bridge. Tommy shared his leadership. He got the guys focused on the goal, and he made sure each guy got to help. Once they got into it, it was really fun. But on any campout, there are a lot of jobs that, well, just aren't much fun. Picking up trash, scrubbing pots, or digging a latrine may not be every guy's idea of a cool time. As a patrol leader, you have to get the unfun things done too.
Raven Patrol.
Watch this and see if it isn't pretty typical.
All right, have a seat. All right, guys. Okay, you can get the stove ready for us, okay?
All right.
And we're gonna need to get the food out. You know, get
I'll
that
do that.
prepared. And what are you guys gonna do again?
We're gonna go check the tents, make sure everything's okay.
Yeah, okay, that'll work. And we're gonna need some water. Okay, can you go get it for us?
Go get the water again? Yeah, look, I'm tired of being your stupid gopher. Just, it's not fair. Why don't you get someone else to do it?
Ever see that happen? Tommy is really on the spot now. If he lets Sam get away with not doing his share, the other guys will be on his back about it the rest of the weekend. While he might be able to physically force Sam to do the work, he doesn't want to get into a fight over something like this. Part of Tommy wants to go to Scoutmaster Lewis or the senior patrol leader about it, but deep down he knows that he has to solve it on his own. What would you do? Before we try to answer that, let's think for a minute. Earlier, we said that a good leader was able to help a group meet its goals. We've talked about how sharing leadership can make it fun to reach the goal. But life isn't that simple. People don't always agree on every goal or on what's their fair share. We call the result conflict. It can start with bad feelings. It can turn into an argument. It sometimes blows up into a physical fight. As a patrol leader, you're going to see some problems like these, and you're going to have to deal with them. Dealing with conflict is not as hard as it seems, and it's not a matter of breaking up fist fights. Well, not usually.
So, you're gonna be on cleanup detail this time? No, Louie, I remember, I did it last time. No, you didn't. Yeah, I did. No, you didn't. He did it, he did it, he did it, he did it, and then I did it. No, Louie, I remember I did it last time. No, you didn't. Yes, Louie, look, are you trying to do the same thing you always do to me? No, you didn't.
Hey, chill, all right? Calm down. Now, we're the Lizard Patrol, right? I will make sure
Actually, if you deal with conflict early enough, you won't see that many guys get into the old push and shove routine.
Shame on you!
What did you do that for? Well, you didn't have to go and hit me, did you? Is my nose bleeding? I haven't any courage at all. I even scare myself. Look at the circles under my eyes. I haven't slept in weeks.
Why don't you try counting sheep?
That doesn't do any good. I'm afraid of them.
Oh, that's too bad. Don't you think the wizard could help him, too?
I don't see why not. Why don't you come along with us? We're on our way to see the wizard now, to get him a heart.
And him a brain.
I'm sure he could give you some courage.
Well, wouldn't you feel degraded to be seen in the company of a cowardly lion? I would.
Oh, of course not.
Gee, that's awfully nice of you.
Wow, look. I got the jacket. Hey, come back here. Come back here with my jacket.
Tommy's Scoutmaster, Jim Lewis, is very skilled in dealing with conflict. He notices when there's something brewing.
How's it going?
Not so good.
What's wrong?
Jason took my jacket.
He seems to notice what's going on, and he knows how to listen. All the scouts in the troop feel like they can talk to him if they have a problem. He knows that number one in dealing with conflict is being able to listen, to understand where the other guy is coming from. Another word for this is empathy. It's just a fancy way of saying walking around in another guy's shoes. Showing empathy is the best way to show respect for others. A good Scoutmaster never uses put-downs or treats guys like babies. The guys feel respected and respect the adult leaders in return. It's the same with junior leaders. Good leaders don't pull rank on the other scouts. They're interested in what everybody has to say. They can tell if a guy isn't having a good time, and they check it out. Empathy. It's number one. Sometimes there are real arguments between two scouts in a patrol. That brings us to point number 2.
It's moving. It's alive. It's alive. It's moving. It's alive. Oh, it's alive. It's alive. It's alive. It's alive.
Good night. Excuse me. Do you mind? I'm trying to sleep. Hey.
By the time people get to fighting about something, they each figure that it's either got to be their way, in which case they win, or the other person's way, in which case they lose. I win, you lose, or you win and I lose.
Hey, whoa. What's going on?
Trying to read, and he comes in here and just wants to have his own way. Trying to catch up on some sleep. I haven't gotten sleep that much. It's still daylight.
Hey, well, is there any way you two could compromise?
No.
Thinking like this can actually get pretty dumb. This is the time when people need help inventing some alternatives.
Think of something, guys. Come on.
This is where you come in. What would you do?
Hey, whoa. What's going on?
Notice how our senior patrol leader came in with a smile and some questions. He got the guys talking, and things cooled down right away. Check out his attitude. He showed empathy and respect. Then he got everybody thinking about some solutions. That's the inventing part.
Well, is there any way we could get what both you guys want? Come on.
You try to get everybody inventing solutions. When you get around the win or lose thinking, you can see all the possible ways to solve the problem. The leader here doesn't act like a judge. It's not a matter of who is right and who is wrong. The question is, how can this problem be solved in a way in which everybody wins? 9 times out of 10, there's an alternative to fighting, and it doesn't have to come from you. One of your strongest tools as a leader is the question. Get people to think for themselves. Remember how powerful questions were in the situations we saw earlier today? Maybe the one to ask now is,
Hey, maybe bloodshed can be avoided here, guys. Is there any way y'all could resolve this?
even if our 2 prize fighters aren't real inventive right away, just listening to both sides is helpful. If they can invent their own solution, they'll be more likely to abide by it later. Got it yet? By now, you've surely figured out that there are 9 different places to tap on a magazine. Try it out on your folks at home or the kids in school. The reason for this little magic show was to practice inventing. There were a lot of possible solutions to this problem. You probably thought of at least 4 or 5 ways the magazine was being pointed out by the medium. The longer it took you to figure the trick out, the more possible solutions you invented. See how smart you are? As a leader, you'll encounter conflict, not just in Scouts, but in school, sports, at home, and even among friends. In a conflict situation, you need to be able to come up with as many clever solutions as possible. The skill of inventing is not just for leaders, like a magician who seems to know it all. As a junior leader, your role is to get other Scouts to come up with solutions as a group.
Follow the yellow brick road. Follow the yellow... Now which way do we go?
In the tent argument, we saw our senior patrol leader demonstrating the steps of empathy and inventing to solve a problem. The last step in dealing with conflict comes in deciding what to do. When you've come up with a number of possible solutions, you try to pick one that benefits the most people. We call this final step selection, because you're selecting the action you think is best. Not all the conflicts we see can be resolved as easily.
What are you laughing at? I said, what you laughing at? I said, what you laughing at? Hey, come here. I said, what you laughing at?
I'm sorry, I didn't...
Hey, don't try to give me that lie. And what you smiling for?
I wouldn't...
Sometimes as a leader, you see things that are just plain wrong. This is when you have to act right away. Our conscience may tell us what action we should take, but selecting the right thing may take some courage.
Hey, man. Hey, what's going on, Dad?
Hey, I don't need no...
Sometimes you'll need help from another leader.
Hey, look, Mike, we're here to have a good time, all right? And when you first joined the troop, you didn't like getting shoved around by the older guys either, did you? Now, come on, you're one of the strongest guys they've got. I need you to help me pull some ropes, okay?
When you do the right thing, you may not immediately be really popular with everybody. That's okay, as long as you're doing your job. Guys respect you if you stay cool and you're fair. Tommy selected the right thing to do. He got some help. He didn't back off, even though the other guy was pretty big, and he stopped the conflict. The senior patrol leader knew he had to do more than just jump on Mike. He talked about the rules and being fair. Pretty sharp guys, huh? They used empathy to show respect. They invented some alternatives. And they selected a course of action that was fair for the greatest number of people. You can become that kind of leader too.
Need some water, okay? Can you go get it for us?
Go get the water again?
Remember earlier in the program when Sam refused to do his job?
It's not fair. Why don't you get someone else?
Now, let's see how you would apply empathy, invention, and selection to handle the problem.
Back where I come from, there are men who do nothing all day but good deeds. They are called good deed doers, and their hearts are no bigger than yours. But they have one thing you haven't got, a testimonial. Therefore, in consideration of your kindness, I take pleasure at this time in presenting you with a small token of our esteem and affection. And remember, my sentimental friend, that a heart is not judged by how much you love, but by how much you are loved by others.
Okay, now this is a peak stove, okay?
The sign of a well-led group is that they can solve their own problems as a team. You want to know what your biggest job is as a troop or patrol leader? It's not handling conflict, or giving out jobs, or cooperating, although these all count. It's building a team spirit within your own troop or patrol. How do you do it? First of all, get everybody involved in planning what the patrol is going to do. Remember how it felt to do the blind square when you didn't know what was going on? Or when you couldn't figure out the 9 magazines trick? Don't let anyone in your troop feel that way. Everybody owns a piece of the troop. When your patrol has a job to do, begin by getting everybody's input on the course of action. When you make a decision, make sure everybody understands it. If somebody has a problem with one of the tasks for the patrol, try to have a choice of things for them to do. Then, when a job is done, give feedback, say thanks, or...
Good job, guys. Great work. Look at that. Let's give the Raven Patrol a cheer. Hip, hip, hooray!
Pointing to the true north.
Encourage your guys to try new things, and make sure that your guys are learning new skills all the time. Encourage everybody to do his best. Always be on the lookout for new challenges for your patrol. Every challenge is the basis for a new adventure. Every problem, the basis of some good team building. And don't let conflict in your patrol scare you. Turn it into an opportunity for everybody to work together. Now, you can't do this all alone. You have to have some help from your Scoutmaster and his assistants. That's what they're there for. As troop leaders, you'll make up a program plan for the year that has a lot of new skills and challenges for the guys. Building team spirit takes time, but when it happens, it's the greatest experience you can have in the Scouts.
That's the principal reason that we're here today, and those are the principal things I want you to learn. And that's what it means to me. What did you get out of today?
Let's take a look over what we've learned today. Being a good leader in Scouts begins with sharing leadership rather than bossing guys around. This begins with the example of the Scoutmaster and goes for everybody with a leadership position in the troop. Second, we know that the patrol method of delegating job responsibilities will work when we use it as designed. We've seen that the best way to get a patrol or a troop to cooperate and have fun is to let every scout take part in making decisions and then dividing up the work. Third, we know that conflict is a normal part of life and we can deal with it. We've learned a 3-step method based on empathy and respect, inventing or creative problem solving, and selecting the solution that benefits the most people. Finally, we know that building troop and patrol team spirit is your ultimate job. So what is a good leader? Ultimately, it's someone you trust and who trusts you. By now, you know just about everything important about leadership. Well, maybe not everything, but it's a start. The rest is up to you. Today, you've had some good experiences and a chance to reflect on them. That's how we learn and move on to the next challenge. Now's the time for you to wrap up what you've learned today. We'll go to the last exercise led by your Scoutmaster.